In the fast-paced world of artificial intelligence, where every breakthrough and every dollar counts, a new player has emerged that could reshape the landscape. DeepSeek, a name that's not yet fully etched in the public's mind, is stirring the pot in ways that no one expected. How has it impacted American AI giants, chip manufacturing companies, and the Wall Street Exchange? And why is everyone, from Silicon Valley moguls to Washington insiders, talking about the Trump shock that followed? As questions ripple through the industry, there's a bigger question that looms. Is the balance of global AI dominance shifting in ways no one can predict? The story of artificial intelligence in America didn't begin with DeepSeek. It didn't even begin with the likes of OpenAI, Google, or Microsoft. It began in the 1950s with visionaries like Alan Turing, who laid the groundwork for AI, followed by breakthroughs that would set the stage for the rapid developments in the 21st century. By the time we reached the 2010s, AI wasn't just a field of research, it was a booming industry, driven by vast amounts of data, increasingly sophisticated algorithms, and the hardware to run them. Companies like Google, Microsoft, and Nvidia began to dominate, offering an unprecedented level of computing power, while AI models like GPT-3 or Google's BERT started to revolutionize everything from healthcare to customer service. But that wasn't all. Alongside this revolution came an arms race of chips. Nvidia, with its state-of-the-art GPUs, became the uncontested king of AI hardware, providing the computational power behind most AI models. Meanwhile, American firms had an unspoken understanding. Their dominance wasn't just in software, it was in the hardware that powered the algorithms. But all of this changed when China began to challenge that control. With American sanctions cutting off Chinese access to key semiconductor technologies, many thought China's AI ambitions would be crippled. However, they underestimated the country's resolve and the deep pockets of state-backed companies. Over time, Chinese companies such as Huawei and Baidu began developing their own chips, with substantial government investment, and soon started to make impressive strides in AI. But one thing was clear. The battle for AI dominance was no longer just between American firms, it was a global race, with DeepSeek now adding fuel to that fire. DeepSeek, a rising star. At first glance, DeepSeek appeared like just another AI startup trying to cash in on the wave of machine learning research. But this company was different. With a budget that rivaled some of the biggest tech giants, DeepSeek began to make waves with its cutting-edge research, developing algorithms that surpassed anything the competition had done before. In a move that would set off ripples across Silicon Valley, DeepSeek announced partnerships with both American and Chinese companies, something that raised more than a few eyebrows. But what was truly game-changing about DeepSeek was its focus on one thing: data. By gaining access to massive data sets from global sources, DeepSeek was able to train its models more efficiently than anyone before. They didn't need the massive computing clusters that traditional giants like OpenAI or Google had to rely on. Instead, DeepSeek optimized its software to be more lightweight, reducing the dependency on expensive hardware, making it a more cost-effective choice for companies and governments looking to jump on the AI bandwagon. This shift wasn't just about AI models, it was about the very nature of how AI was being funded. As investors turned their eyes to DeepSeek, companies like Microsoft and Google, already struggling with increasing competition, faced tough questions. Could they match DeepSeek's efficiency? Could they continue to dominate a field that seemed for the first time to have a viable challenger? The Trump shock, a new geopolitical landscape. While American tech companies scrambled to figure out how to deal with DeepSeek's rise, they were also dealing with a much bigger issue: the Trump administration's handling of AI. With the president pushing for more stringent policies on China, including restricting Chinese access to critical technologies, the landscape of the AI race began to shift dramatically. Under Trump, sanctions on Chinese companies like Huawei and ZTE were not just aimed at reducing their access to American chips, they were aimed at crippling the Chinese AI industry itself. But instead of stalling China's progress, these sanctions had the opposite effect. Chinese companies, spurred on by government-backed funding, ramped up their own efforts to innovate in AI. This left American firms in a difficult position. How could they continue to lead in a market where their primary competitors had access to massive state funding and a growing talent pool? The impact of the Trump shock was significant in two areas. First, it accelerated the AI race to unprecedented levels, as both American and Chinese firms tried to get ahead of each other. Second, it placed American chip manufacturers in a vulnerable spot. Companies like NVIDIA, which had been essential to AI model training, found themselves under pressure as the Chinese were developing alternative chips. The chip war, the hardware arms race. For all the progress in AI, none of it would be possible without the right hardware. AI requires massive computational power, and that power comes from chips, specifically GPUs and TPUs. NVIDIA, by the mid-2010s, was the undisputed leader in AI hardware, its chips running the most advanced models on the planet. But as the US-China trade war escalated, NVIDIA found itself in a delicate situation. The Trump administration imposed sanctions on Chinese companies, limiting their access to American chip technology, but that wasn't enough to slow down the Chinese AI push. China's ability to develop its own chips, including the Kunpeng and Ascend series, allowed Chinese firms to make incredible progress. But what was more concerning to American chip makers was the emergence of DeepSeek, a company that bypassed the need for expensive chips altogether with its software innovations. With DeepSeek's growing prominence, investors began asking whether it made sense to keep investing in traditional chip manufacturers when software alone could deliver similar or even better results. The future of AI, a new era of collaboration or competition. With AI, everything has changed. The rise of DeepSeek and other innovative startups has thrown the traditional balance off kilter. American AI firms, once dominant, now face an uncertain future. Microsoft's partnership with OpenAI, Google's Gemini, and Meta's Llama have all been significant in terms of research and development, but the question remains, how will these companies handle the changing tides in hardware and funding? One thing is clear, the future of AI will no longer be defined by just a few players. It will be defined by the winners of a global competition, with the power of data, chips, and software all playing equally important roles. American companies have the benefit of an established ecosystem, but they're facing stiff competition from both Chinese rivals and upstart challengers like DeepSeek. Will American tech giants manage to maintain their lead, or will new forces alter the course of AI history? The stakes are higher than ever, and as DeepSeek's influence grows, it's clear that the next chapter in AI will be one of dramatic change and unprecedented innovation.